In this video I will show you why Monitor is the right tool for your business, and I will do this in just about 20 minutes. Monitor ERP is a global ERP provider for manufacturing companies, headquartered in Sweden. We have more than 50 years experience of the manufacturing industry. Today we serve over 6,500 customers and 400,000 daily users worldwide. Our system is standardized and designed to support every process in the manufacturing business. The system is built around 6 core modules: sales, manufacturing, time recording, purchase, stock and accounting. Each module contains a number of procedures. For example, the sales module covers the entire sales flow, from quotation through customer order and delivery, to invoicing and accounts receivable. The manufacturing module includes BOM and routing, pre-calculations, manufacturing order, planning and reporting. Now let's take a look in the system. Here is the user interface. Monitor ERP runs in a web browser. The modules are listed here in the top left. With a single click you can see all of the procedures available in that module. Since we are logged in as admin, we have access to everything. On the start page you can add components with key figures and other important information. Each user can choose what to display depending on the role in the company. The settings are made under General Settings and Desktop. And here you can choose from pre-made components which component you want to have on your start page. I take, for example, control of basic data and put it here. Adjust it a bit and then I can save. I go back to the start page and we have a new component. All start page components are clickable, so you can drill down just by double-clicking on a certain component. I double-clicked on the loading plan and then we see the actual loading in a certain department in this company. A general functionality is that you can create tasks to get reminders in the system. You can create tasks on yourself or on your colleagues. Here under the settings we have the tasks and we can see that I have 3 tasks that I haven't handled yet. If I want to go to and report the actual task, I just mark the task and then click on the Go To button. In the top left-hand corner we have something called Monitor Search. It's a global search to search almost anything in Monitor. That can be, for example, a part number, a customer order, an invoice number, or in my example here, a person called Ulf. I click enter and then I will get the hit list. I can filter the result by just including basic data. And then I see I got 3 hits. One of the hits is Alfa Laval here. I mark Alfa Laval and then click on the Go To button. Then I automatically will be transferred to the customer register. And here we can see that Ulf Karlsson is one of the references. If I want to email Ulf, I just click on the email button and then a dialog window will open so I can type the email and send it. When I send it, I get the question if I want to log the email in the CRM tab in the customer register. So all mails that I send, I can log, in this case, on a customer. Incoming emails I can drag and drop into the system. All stored emails is down here, and if you want to watch a certain email, you just click on the email and show the message. And that includes also the attachment in that specific email. At the top of the procedures, you always have the Go To button where you have the next logical step. Now we're in the customer register, so if I click on the Go To button, I can, for example, from the customer register directly go to register quote or register customer order. BOM and routing is one of the most central procedures for a manufacturing company. This is where parts are defined with operations and materials. We start with this part number, amount for milling spindle. We see that we have 3 operations down here with setup and unit times, and we have an ingoing part number. I have to this mount for milling spindle connected a drawing. You can connect external files to every part in the system. As long as they are PDF files, it's also possible to have an automatic printout when we later create a manufacturing order. In the operation, we have the same possibility to link files, and we can also create instructions that we see on the manufacturing order later. We take another part that has more ingoing parts. This has several levels in the structure. We see here in the navigation tree that we have the top level and then we have the semi-finished parts. We see also that we have 2 operations and many materials. If I instead click on one of the semi-finished parts, for example this part, we also see the operation list for that part and the ingoing material. If we want to see the full structure, the whole BOM, we can click on the Go To button and the level list. Here in the level list we will see the whole structure map, what the frame structure consists of. We go back to the part we looked at first. From the BOM and routing, we can also do a pre-calculation to calculate the cost price. We go to the pre-calculation, and here we can choose the quantity we want to calculate on, because the setup price will be divided with the quantity. So I take 50 in this case, and I do the calculation. I then get a summary where I can see the actual pre-calculation, the material cost, the subcontracting cost in this case, and the processing cost. We see that we have a total manufacturing cost of 200, which is the standard price in the system. And we can of course save this standard price on this part number. We can also save the quote price as sales price. So when we later do a quote, we can quote this part to this price, and then we will get a margin that we will see in the actual quote later. In the pre-calculation, we have other tabs where we can follow up all the details if we like. Now we're in the quote register, and I shall register a quote. I start by typing in a customer. I look in the header if something more I want to add. Then I go to the rows and take my part number that we have looked at earlier. I already pre-calculated this part, so I just put in the quantity. And as you can see, I see both the standard price and the price per each. Down here I see the contribution margin as well as in percentage. I can save this quote like this, and I can also choose quote type or order type. In this case I've chosen something called big quote. I come back to that soon. We preview the document and see the quote like this. And from here now we can email this quote easily to the customer. Here we see the quote in my email. I click on the attachment and we see that I have a front page followed by the actual quote. And we could have had several pages here as well. In this way you can make very nice quotes in a very simple way. If the customer chooses to buy from this quote, we can go to the header in the quote and create the customer order directly from the quote by just clicking on this button. I get the question if I want to give the order my own order number, but I will take that from my number series. So I just OK this. Now we're in the register customer order. We see that the order comes from the quote, and we can also add the customer order number. If we go into the tab for the rows, on the order row we can see the delivery date, which is today's date. However, the system has calculated the earliest delivery date based on the capacity in our work centers and the availability on ingoing materials. If we click on the CDT button, we can see why we can't deliver earlier. We can also see that if we use an alternative work center, we can deliver earlier, but to a slightly higher price. We accept the calculated delivery date and send an order confirmation. We go back to the order rows. This product is order-orientated, meaning that we manufacture this part when we get the order. Now we have an order, and then it's possible, to the right here, to create the manufacturing order directly from the customer order row. We could also run on netting an MRP calculation to create purchase orders and manufacturing order suggestions, for example, every night, and then just release them to actual orders every morning. But in this example, I create the manufacturing order directly from the customer order. And then I have parameters that give me the same order number on the manufacturing order as the customer order. And that is something that you can choose if you want to have or not. Here we see the manufacturing order with the operation and ingoing materials. It's also possible to preview the manufacturing order document. As you can see, we can have barcode for easier reporting with barcode scanning. But that is something that you can choose when you set the parameters for the manufacturing order document. You can also see that because we created this manufacturing order from the customer order, we see that it's manufactured against the customer order with that order number and the customer with the customer name here. And the delivery date on the customer order is this date. The system has now calculated when we should start this order, first operation, and so on, based on that we are going to deliver it the 5th of November. We go over to capacity planning. Capacity planning is one of Monitor's strongest areas. This is the overview where we can see the loading against the capacity for a certain work center, for a department, or for the whole company, if we like. In the priority plan, you prioritize manufacturing orders based on multiple criteria, such as material availability, whether the previous operation is complete, or customer priority. These priorities are directly reflected in the operator's priority plan as they begin their work later. Here we see the manufacturing orders with the part numbers and the part name. We can also see planned start date to the right. We scroll a bit and we see planned finish date and new finish date. If we want to do another prioritization instead of this, we can choose which order we want to prioritize. And I think we should take our order number, this, and set a priority 1 and save. That means that this order will come in the top of the priority plan. When you're finished by prioritizing the orders in the priority plan, we can then go and look in the time recording to see the operator's view instead. In the time recording module, employees record their attendance, which provides payroll data. And they can also clock in and out on manufacturing orders operations. So actual time is automatically recorded on each order and operation. I clock in David here, and we see that he is already clocked in today. So the next step is that he clocks in on a work order. Then he will get up the priority plan, which was prioritized earlier. And we see our order here at the top. If I mark this order, it's also possible to preview the drawing from the boom and routing earlier. So I can see that before I start the actual order. When I'm going to start the order, I can start it directly, or I can start setup time if I want to follow up setup times on machine. I see the operations down here, and it's also possible to see the ingoing materials. And if I have shortage of that, I can filter on it. But I think we start the order now, and we do that by clicking on this button. Of course, you can do this also on a tablet or on a smartphone. But now we do it here in the web browser. And now we get information that David Beckham has started this order. When David is finished with the order, he clocks in and stop the work. It's also possible to report partial reporting, but in this case I stop the work here. Then I report the quantity, in this case 50. It's also possible to report rejected quantity and get statistics of that. But I stop now this order, and the system will automatically calculate the time from when we started the order until it got finished. Then I will get up the priority plan again, and I take the next order in the priority plan. Maybe I watch the drawing again, or I just start the order. Now we have reported the first operation on this order, and we will later get a post calculation. Here in the post calculation, we can compare the pre-calculation, the planned cost, against the reported cost. And we can see that there's no difference in the material cost, but in the subcontracting costs, we have cheaper price reported than planned, and also in the processing, it's a bit cheaper than planned. So the actual manufacturing cost is lower than the planned cost in this example. And of course, we can go more into details in the other tabs here to see and analyze the difference in detail. Now we have reported the manufacturing order, and we have done a post calculation. In the sales module now, we can do the actual delivery. There's a routine for that called report delivery. And if we do that, the system creates an invoice basis, so we just can authorize, approve the invoice and send it. And we can send it by email as an attached PDF file, or we can send it as an e-invoice. We support the standard for e-invoices in the whole Europe. Monitor also includes a mobile client for smartphones and tablets. This makes it easy to report without needing a computer. Reporting can be done by scanning barcodes with the device's camera or with an external scanner. We take an example. In the purchase module, we do arrival reporting. Here is the order rows that we're going to report. And in the next step, we report them, and it's possible to print transport labels if you have connected a printer by Bluetooth to the tablet. To sum it up, The system includes pretty much everything a manufacturing company needs, and there are many features that come as standard in Monitor, features that often cost extra in other systems. Here are some examples. CRM functionality, a sustainability module to calculate carbon footprint, a BI tool, a complete business intelligence, which is included, so you don't need any external system. We also have our AI assistant, Maya, that supports you in your daily work. This was a short demo of Monitor. Please feel free to contact us if you want to know more.